So what sets you apart? How can we set you apart? Well, that's and a little bit of garlic. And then we're going to turn it on low, and we're going to crumble it up so it makes a crumble. Welcome, Miracle Seekers, to the Miracle of Healing TV show. I'm your host, Jayne Rios. This week, we're going to focus on nutrition. There's a lot of things that we can do outside the doctor's plan to help us with our nutrition and help our bodies and stay healthy. So that's what we're going to focus on this week. We're going to clean out our kitchen cupboards. We're actually talking to an expert, Michelle Perzan. She's a survivor, and so that's going to be a great story. There's a lot of great things. We're going to talk about nebulizers and oxygen to our lungs, and what can we do at the health store, and what can we buy, and what do we not buy. So it's a really interesting episode, and I hope you stay tuned for the whole thing because we got lots of great activities, and at the end we're going to do our weekly activity for joy. Today we're going to do something a little different. We've been working on yoga, we've been working on walking, and we're going to throw something else into the mix today, which is meditation. A lot of people think meditation is going off into some spirit realm, and that's that part of meditation. Meditation to me, being a spiritual being and a Christian, just means I'm taking time for myself, taking time to think and breathe, be with nature, be with God. And when we do this, we get to hear and listen. As an entrepreneur and someone that's going through a lot of stuff, as you are, with illness, and you've got fears and worries, and it's good to take a good 10 minutes at least for yourself and just sit there and think about all the good things and what we're blessed for, and really think about our healing and listening to God. It's a fast-paced world, and sometimes we don't just sit and listen. He has a lot to tell us, And so for meditation, for me, is listening to God, it's talking to God, it's praying, it's taking a breath, it's taking time out for myself. Just find a place outside, and find a place in your house. Tell people around you that you need 10 minutes. And just go into your little place and do meditation, breathe. And so that's what we're going to take a little 5 minutes out on our show today, just to talk and do some meditation. And getting up and move also means getting up and move and taking time for yourself. So we got up and move, and we get up and move every day. Let's take some time for ourselves, and 10 minutes of your workout could actually be while you stretch. We do yoga and our beginner yoga. We could just sit here and stretch and breathe and take big breaths in. So let's start. Ready? I always like to start in this position. It's my praying position with my back up. Breathe in through your nostrils, and what you want to do is take as big a breath as you can through your nose, and then you want to let it all out, all that air out. And while you're doing that, let's do 3 of those real big ones. Ready? Let's go. Didn't that feel good? Boy, it just feels good just to let out that air and just feel the air inside you. Did you know cancer does not like oxygen? And so I think we learned that on our second show about nebulizers, that cancer does not like oxygen. So the more we can breathe in this fresh air and let out, the better. It's getting rid of that cancer. It just says, ooh, I don't like this oxygen. And the nebulizer on top of that, meditation and breathing, oh, it's so awesome. So let's put our hands to our sides, on our knees. And another thing meditation does for me is really just sitting here and talking to God and praying and thinking of the positive and blessings. So I'm going to think of 10 blessings and just say them out loud while I breathe, and just thank Him, God, for the many blessings that He's given me. And that takes our mind off the bad things too, and it keeps us in a positive mode. So the first blessing I'm so grateful for is my family. And without my family through this, I'm not sure what I would do. My husband is my caregiver. He takes care of everything for me. I don't have to think of anything. He does my medicine. He has my bag for chemo. He cooks for the kids. He does so much. And then my mother, well, my kids have been awesome through this, and they know everything. I tell them everything, and so they've been a blessing. Take a breath. And my mom has been a huge part of this. She comes every week after chemo and helps out the family, helps out my husband cook, and helps me stay positive. So throughout this whole process, and so on to two. I've got a few minutes here. Two. The second thing I'm really grateful for is that I am a Christian and I have something to lean on. I have hope. I have the Bible that gets me through with positive affirmations. I'm thankful for all the survivors out there. They're telling their stories that'll help people like me find stories of survival. Be sure to look at survivor stories. Don't look at the bad stuff. There's a lot of doom out there that you can read about what your maybe prognosis is, but don't focus on that. Look at all these brave survivors out there that have left their messages to say you can do this because you can do this. I'm thankful for all the people who've stepped out and helped us in the health world to help us look at alternatives, the things that we can look at, and besides just what the doctors tell us with the chemo and radiation and things like that are poisoning our system. What can we do that's healthy for our system? And that's what our show concentrates on, God, and what we can do healthy alternative besides just taking medicine all the time. I'm taking 28 pills. Another thing I'm thankful for, the doctors that have gone to school for 8 years and have used their whole life practice, and the nurses to help us and use their gift to help us get through these sicknesses and illnesses. Both and all of it's helping. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that for my job, that I have a job that does passive income, that I can be at home and not have to go to work. Many of you have a corporate job that you have to go to work right after chemo. My heart bleeds for you because I don't know how you do it. Kudos to you, just grateful. I will get teary-eyed because I am such a grateful heart. And I'm thankful for everything God's provided for me to get through all of this. And we're back in the kitchen. Today we're just talking about, we're not going to cook anything. What I wanted to talk to you about was my trip to the health store. And so, again, when I found out that I had stage 4 cancer and I needed to eat right, I didn't have anything in my cupboards. They were, potato chips, and I've got 15 and 12-year-old boys, and so we just ate kind of whatever we wanted to. I ate at 1:30. I didn't even eat breakfast, so I was eating really poorly. But when I found out I was sick and I needed to do everything I could to help myself and one of those things was to get healthy. And so my first trip was to the health store. I had no idea what I was doing, and so I thought, well, let me get gluten-free noodles, because I've always heard gluten-free is good for you, right? And so I got some gluten-free noodles and stacked my bag with a whole bunch of stuff, right? And the guy at the checkout, I asked him a question, and he looked at my groceries and he said, "I can tell you're new to this." And I said, "Yes, sir, I'm very new to this." He knew I had stage 4 cancer, and he knew I was trying to alkalize my body, going back to alkalizing your body and getting the acid out, because cancer feeds off acid. So you got to alkalize your body, get it up to the pH levels that are normal, and we'll talk more about that in a later episode. But so the reason this wasn't good for me after finding out was that it's made with, on the ingredients, white rice flour. Well, I'm not supposed to eat white rice flour. I'm supposed to be eating spelt flour, almond flour. So that was the very first ingredient. And then it had 44 grams of carbohydrates. And so, this really wasn't the best for me. And I looked at all my decisions when I got home after learning more, researching what alkalizing is. That doesn't work. What does work, though, there are a lot of things that you can eat that help. So like sprouted Ezekiel. Ezekiel's like the #1 brand that has what you can eat. What I can eat, I know, for having cancer and keeping all the bad stuff out of my system and alkalizing. So this is Ezekiel sprouted, and there's a lot of other ones that you can do. You can do spelt noodles. So if you do spelt noodles, it's made with spelt flour. You can find this online, but you can also find it at your local health store. So visit your local health store because they're very knowledgeable and they can help you. Another thing that I learned that what I can eat and make myself is hummus. So a lot of us didn't know we can make hummus, and you make those out of chickpeas. And a little bag of chickpeas is like $1, and this will make 2 big things of hummus. And you can make whatever flavors you want, which I love that. So just get a bag of chickpeas and try it out. Another thing that I love that I talked about earlier is my almond butter. Instead of the Jif that I usually had in my refrigerator, I changed it out for almond butter. So now I can put this on my Ezekiel cinnamon raisin toast, and it's yummy, or in celery, or you can do a lot of things with this the almond butter. And then another thing I learned was about the oils. What I love about avocado and coconut oil, my favorite is coconut oil, because I actually use this out of the shower. And so that your skin gets real rough, which we've talked about in episodes, or an episode coming up, and because we don't grow new skin cells when we're on chemo and things like that. So when I get out of the shower, when I'm still wet, I put coconut oil on my body. So not only do I cook with it, I use it for my skin care. And that's a great way to keep your skin nice and soft. My skin stayed really nice and soft. I even put it on my face. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was a nebulizer. So if you have any lung problems, what he showed me at the health store was that I can help myself by putting oxygen in my lungs. And so I do this by using a nebulizer. And cancer does not like oxygen in the lungs. So I do this every night, once a day. And I put 8 droppers. So if you don't have a dropper, go get you a little dropper. But 8 drops of hydrogen peroxide and 8 drops of silver to 2 tablespoons of water. And I do that every night. Since I'm a smoker, I started at 30 seconds and every week moved myself up. 5 minutes is max. So I hope this helped you. It's my trip to the health store. I want you to visit the health store yourself so you can kind of experience it. And be sure to ask them. They're very knowledgeable. The people who work in there really do want to help you. Hi everyone, welcome to the Expert Spotlight. We have the amazing Michelle Perzan. You've probably seen her on TV. She has the TV show called Strength in My Storm. She's a fabulous TV host on a national platform. I'm so proud of her. And she's actually a survivor. So, I love to focus on survivor stories. And we're going to talk a little bit today, too, about after the survival. So what happens then? So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me today, Janie. I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Tell everybody a little bit about you. There's always, we're talking about the survival stories, but actually we were people before we had cancer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur, but I had 3 boys before I was ever diagnosed with breast cancer, and I'm a wife, and I always had to have my own business, but I always wanted to work from home because it was really important that I was here to raise my boys. But so before cancer, I was just busy, but my life was full of things I wanted it to be full of. But working and taking care of the boys, being a wife and mother, and that's what my life was full of before.
Oh, that's amazing. You set your priorities straight is what I always say.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had a corporate job, but you didn't, right?
No, my choice was, we were from Canada originally, so when we moved to the States, I thought it was really important that I had to be here for my boys because there's no other family around. So everything I did was from my home. Any businesses I did, so that I could always be here for them.
Oh, I love that. So then you're working as an entrepreneur, you've got the kids, you got a fabulous life, and then you get the news.
Yeah, that call, right? That phone call that just changes your life. You have cancer, and there's not even a way to describe how your life changes, but you don't know in that moment how much it's going to change.
Right. It's devastating.
It's devastating, especially I had lost my dad to cancer. I'd lost my baba, my grandma. I'd lost my oldest brother to cancer, and my mom was currently in hospice with bone cancer. So to get that call, it was surreal to say the least.
Well, then you look around, and yeah, it's even worse because you're watching people and seeing people die of it. So you've got to really, really change your mindset. Really do the research to figure out, okay, I don't want that to be me, right? And so. So tell us, a little bit about your journey. Just real quickly, did you just rely on the doctors? Did you do the alternative? What did you do?
So to be honest, as soon as I got that call, I made a choice quickly, probably within a week, that I was going to do it by completely leaning on my faith. I knew that there was no other way I was going to be able to get through it than just to go to God and say, okay, now what? Because I couldn't do it alone. I knew I didn't have the strength to do it by myself. And we did the best we could. We went to MD Anderson in Houston, which was, a great doctor, highly recommend, or a great hospital, highly recommended. And at that point, we didn't know a lot. Canada hospitals and cancer is really different than America. So we just, lots of times I just prayed of where to go. And we just felt that the way that we went was all with the doctors at first. And I wouldn't change any of that. I believe that's the way I was supposed to go, because I wouldn't have learned as much as I did not going through that way. But I ended up doing a bilateral mastectomy, having reconstructive surgery. And it wasn't until after going through all those surgeries and being on medications that made my life unbearable, to say the least, like I had no quality of life, that we started looking into natural options. And that's when my life started to change for the better.
So natural options, tell us a little bit about that. You hear that a lot, natural.
Natural.
What does that mean for you?
For me, it means that I have a choice of what I'm putting in my body. Instead of the doctor saying, you have to take this pill for 5 years or 10 years, and I have no choice. Natural to me means I have a choice. So I got to meet this lady. She was a nurse. Her name was Jayne Rios. Somebody introduced us. She had written the book, Cancer Free, Are You Sure? And when we connected, she opened up my whole eyes, my world, to natural things like vitamin C infusions, the Hocket, saunas where you're sweating out toxins, just natural ways of eating and different things that you can do that can change your life and make sure that cancer doesn't come back or get cancer out of your body. And I had no idea you could even do that. And the more information she gave me, I would hand it off to Aaron, my husband, because I could only absorb so much, and he would implement things into my diet and into my life. And that really changed my life.
And Aaron's your husband and caregiver.
Yes, my husband and caregiver. He's amazing.
I learned that on your TV show. I love your TV show. That's awesome. So real quickly, let's talk a little bit about after. So you actually are in remission, correct?
I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say I'm cancer-free.
Cancer-free. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Everybody
remission would intend something's coming back, and there's nothing touching this body again.
Okay, I love that. You know me, I'm learning, right? I still have it, so I will be that way here hopefully soon.
Yes.
But yes, so you were cancer-free. And but tell us a little bit about your journey now, right? So we were talking about that earlier before the show. You're cancer-free, but what is life after cancer now for you?
Well, so I still go for weekly vitamin C infusions. I still do sauna, like 3 to 5 times a week as much as I can. There's still things that I have to do to make sure that I get like all my numbers really good, to make sure I stay healthy. So with that comes some side effects. When I go for my weekly vitamin C infusions, I'm the person that has all the side effects. So it's called herxing, which means it could be dizziness, nausea, bone pain, like it's just side effects that you get, which is good. It's doing good things to your body, but I get the side effects. So the day of my infusions, I could be on the couch sleeping for 5-6 hours afterwards, or be in pain or nauseated, throwing up, things like that. So everybody, when they look at me, everybody's like, well, you look great, everything's fine. They don't realize that cancer just doesn't end. It's over, I'm cancer-free, it doesn't end. There's nights that I still don't sleep through the night because they don't tell you after a bilateral mastectomy and reconstruction that you can't sleep a certain way, or there's discomfort, or that I don't wake up 5-6 times a night anymore, but 1 or 2 times a night, weeks and weeks and weeks in a row. It's exhausting. People forget about you after that because you look on the outside good, and they don't realize that there's still sometimes a storm going on inside, because cancer is something that affects you for the rest of your life. It doesn't just go away one day. And I notice that people don't think about that because they don't know. It's not that they don't care, people just don't know. And the more we talk about it, and I think I need to open up more and tell people, you know what, I am still having rough days and I need support. And the more we can do that, I think people will be more aware of it. But after is not all sunshine and roses, but I am thankful for each day that I am here, that I'm watching my boys grow up, that I'm going to see them get married, and my grandchildren. I focus on that when I'm having those hard days, knowing that it's okay because I'm here. There could be such a worse end to it that I don't mind putting up with this little bit of stuff, that I get to be here with my boys and my husband.
What a great message, though. So if you know people, watching the show, and you know people that have been through and they've survived, don't forget about them. Don't just say, hey, you're looking awesome, because they're probably still going through things. And to open up is such an important key. We tell people to open up when you have cancer for support. Got to keep still opening up. When people say you look great, tell them, instead of saying, thank you, say, well, today I threw up because I had a side effect. I mean, that's the only way they'll know, and they'll think, maybe walk away thinking, wow, I still need to support this person. And so what a great message that is. So is there anything else I know you have your walk coming up in February. 5 minutes goes so quickly. And We'll tell you a little bit about their foundation at the end. We have a little commercial for you that you can see. But, tell us about your walk and how they can get involved.
Okay, great. Yes. So our second annual Guest Foundation Rock Walk, ROC, Reign Over Cancer, is coming up Sunday, February 24th in Katy, Texas. And you can learn more about that at guestfoundation.org. It's GEST, foundation.org. And I'm super excited for year 2.
Oh, yay. In February 2019, it's never too soon to get involved because she has a wonderful foundation. If you stay tuned, you'll see this little 30-second spot about what it is and how you can get involved to help others. So thank you, Michelle, for just being on the show and being such a wonderful light to the world and giving this great information. And anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everybody on the next segment. Bye.
Thanks, Jenny.
Welcome to our weekly activity. We're going to clean out some cupboards. I'm not going to do all my cupboards, but this is something you can do this week, every day, to bring you joy, because now you know what you can eat and what you cannot eat. So let's start with mine, okay? So we've got Jif, regular peanut butter, and we have the almond butter. I can only eat almond butter now, so I'm going to get rid of the Jif peanut butter. Goes in the trash. I also have Crisco. I can't eat Crisco anymore. I have to have avocado oil. Or extra virgin olive oil. So the Crisco goes in the trash. We have Pam. We can't use Pam anymore. We have organic Pam that we can use, so this goes in the trash. So you see my modem of operandi here? We have to get rid of what's bad and keep what's good. So that way when we come to our cupboard, we only have things that are good for us and only good choices. Let's see what else we can find in here. Let's see. Oh, we have ice cream cones. Can't have those anymore. Goes in the trash. Oh my goodness, I've got to get rid of a lot of stuff here. These little tostados, can't eat those anymore. They're made with white rice or flour. Can't eat that anymore, but I have healthy versions, so I'll get rid of that. So you see what we have to do this week. Go through your cupboards every day and throw something away that you can't eat anymore, and you'll be glad you did it. Thanks.
Hello and welcome again to Caregivers. I'm your host, Jayne Rios, with my mother-in-law, Cheryl, again, to talk to you about a little bit more information of what it can help you with caregiving and also being the caretaker. This segment we're going to talk about today is about kids and their activities.
Why don't you first tell them how the kids found out? I think that's a big dilemma with a lot of parents, don't you?
Yes, I think, our kids found out was we try to stay open with our kids, and we try to make sure they do know everything that's being involved in our family, in our family circle, good or bad. And pretty much when we found out, we told them maybe not even a week later what was going on. We sat down in the living room. We had a family discussion like we always do with any discussions that we need to talk about. And good or bad, and we had the conversation. It wasn't an easy one, but we did have the conversation to let them understand what was going on and what we wanted them to know, and that if they had any kind of questions or thoughts or whatever was going on, please come to us. And if we couldn't find the answers, we spoke to their school counselors to let their school counselors be aware of the situation. So if they saw anything that was out of the norm from them, that they would be aware of what was going on.
Yeah. I think you really nipped it in the bud at the beginning. And I know the reason I ask about that, because I have had friends who tried to hide it from their kids and other family members, and you find out, and kids are smart. They're a lot smarter than we adults give them credit for. So I congratulate you for bringing them in when you did.
Well, good. Thank you for that. And another thing I know that we do for helping the kids is with church. Get pastor involved there and involved in their children's ministry and their friends. I think it's just always, no matter what your situation, good or bad, it's just a great thing to be involved in church, have a church family to help you
keep things normal.
Keep things normal.
I think that's a big thing. It's just with their activities. You're a coach for the Josh's baseball team, and the kids have their friends over, or they go to their friend's house. So you go boating. Just kids, these are teenage boys, and they need that normalcy.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. Try to be normal as much as possible. Your yard work. You got your yard cutting. You got doing stuff outside. Now we get a little bit. We have responsibilities that we needing to take up. House cleaning, dinners. I got the boys involved in dinners with us. They're now they know how to chop up vegetables and know what to put in there, knowing that a pan is where the pans are at, and just locations of items in the house that are always taken for granted by mom.
Or cleaning up after dinner.
Exactly. They do dishes after dinner, and they clean after dinner. I mean, the boys have been so helpful with it, and they really have stepped up.
Yeah, they really have. And I spent a day or so with the boys showing them how to clean their bathrooms.
Yes.
We went to the store and bought the products, and I told them what they were for, and stuff like that helps out a lot.
Yeah, that's something that I do know, that with the kids, they're a lot smarter than you really think they are, guys. They really do know what's going on. They may not tell you because they know that that's not in their spot, but they do know what's going on. Their hearts feel it, and I think that's how everyone knows about your heart. And so,
and it's a team effort too.
Yes.
You need people around you that, for instance, when they go to a treatment during the school year, and the boys had to get to school. You either have to rely on relatives or you have to rely on neighbors, and so it's good to plan those things out. Reach out to your family, reach out to your neighbors that and 9 times out of 10 people are going to be more than willing to help. They want to do something, and this is a good thing for them to do. Just jump in on the caregiving, the rides back and forth.
Most definitely.
Whatever.
They really are helpful with the kids. They had neighbors come around and say, hey, we can drop them off at school. We can pick them up from the school. You don't have to worry about it. We had a lot of thoughts of knowing how to help the kids. That's one of the segments, helping kids, and I think that's very important that we need to do, and to keep them strong and keep them positive. And like you said, it's a team. It's a team effort. I thank you. I thank my kids for being there with us. I think and for everyone else around us, our family and other friend members that are around us that can help us out.
This week is a lot of fun because what I want you to do is celebrate. I want you to celebrate everything and anything that you have going on. For example, when you finish a chemo treatment, celebrate. When you get a phone call and you have then you made a great dinner, something, celebrate. Just celebrate every day. Find something to celebrate every day. What I did is I ordered a dress, and I waited for this show so I could show you my dress. So let's open it. There it is. Now, you don't have to buy yourself something. You can do something without buying yourself, but I love to shop. So I found this beautiful dress online. Look at this. I celebrated by buying a dress. Isn't it pretty? So I'll use this for my shows. You'll see me wear this on my show, and also in speaking engagements. But I knew I needed a dress for speaking engagements and things like that. So I went ahead and ordered it because I celebrated. What I celebrated was my 3rd chemo round. I finished, you guys, and you know what? It's worth celebrating. So find something every day to celebrate and enjoy. So thank you for joining us on the Miracle of Healing TV show. I'm so glad you are with us today. The weekly activity is so awesome, isn't it? I mean, everything we do every day to bring us joy, that's what we need to keep up. We need to keep positive. We need to keep everything up, right? I mean, we have enough negative in our lives. So the weekly activity, I try to bring you something that will be joyful in your life. Michelle Prezan's story was amazing. She continues to help me daily. She's so uplifting and spiritual, and such a beautiful person. So I'm going to leave you today with the scripture, Jeremiah 30:17.